Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with My Hero Academia. Last time on My Hero Academia, we had Izuku Midoriya and Tomura Shigaraki, where basically Midoriya talked to all the vestiges of One for All. Kind of. All Might was there in spirit. He was there in spirit, but he wasn't really talking because, he's still alive, but that's okay. And then there were the other two, the second and third user, I think, who were like in a timeout. We don't know what's going on with them, but yeah. But the others were pretty talkative. Then we learned a lot. We learned about the fourth user who used Danger Sense, and we learned some stuff about One for All, that it can no longer be passed to a person with a quirk and needs to be passed to a person without a quirk. However, that's pretty rare nowadays, so good luck with that, Midoriya. Also, the basic end goal thing was, can Deku kill Tomura Shigaraki? And they were like, yo, you said you wanted to save him. We're not quite sure about that, but Deku said, no, if I have to kill him, I will. But I want to try to save him. There is still the scared lost child in there that he wants to save, basically. So, yeah. Oy. My nose is a little stuffy, sorry. Oy. And then, Hawks and Best Jeanist went to All Might to talk to him about One for All, and All Might told him the whole thing. And then, after Deku woke up, he wrote letters to all of his classmates explaining One for All and why Shigaraki and All for One would be after him. And then he left. He has dropped out of UA, and he's out on his own. So remember when this was called My Hero Academia? Yeah, that is no longer an applicable title, at least in the Academia part. We can still call it My Hero, I guess. Whose hero? Whose hero is he? Maybe it's more about Deku's hero, not just All Might, but Uraraka, who's going to come in and slap the shit out of him if Bakugo doesn't, So, actually, Bakugo's going to have to wait in line, because I think Uraraka's going to slap the shit out of him. That's just my theory, though. Let's see if this theory prevails. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of My Hero Academia. Here we go. The good news, it's not just Deku. It's Deku, All Might, Endeavor, Hawks, and Best Jeanist. That's something. However, include your goddamn class in this. Because, they're going to be out there anyway. Bakugo's coming for you. Bakugo's not going to let you die. Have Bakugo. Have Shoto while you're at it. Because Dabi's going to come back at some point. Bring the class with you. I understand not going back to UA. I do understand it. But bring the rest of the goddamn class with you. Maybe not the whole class. I don't know. Do you need Aoyama? Probably not. Do you need Tailman? Probably not. Saro? Yeah. Jiro? She's good recon. Tokoyami? Yes. You take Tokoyami. Bakugo, Uraraka, Todoroki, Tokoyami, Ida, for God's sake, Yaoyorozu, Mineta as a distraction, Kaminari, useful in some situations, Sue, absolutely, forget the rest of Class A, bring Sue. Forget the rest of them, just have Sue, your hair matches anyway. Alrighty. Well, that was interesting. I will say, I'm a bit more invested now, I will say, and I'm glad. See, again, at first I was like, oh man, Midoriya's just going to be off on his own. I don't really care for that. But the fact that he's there with All Might, and Endeavor, and Hawks, and Best Jeanist, that makes me think, okay, we can work with this. We can work with this. It's basically It's not Midoriya is going out on his own. It's Midoriya is leaving Class A to be with the really, really interesting characters. The really, really interesting adult characters, you know? So that's at least something. We got to see Shindo again, and Turtle Girl, I forgot her name already. It was good to see them. I like that. And we had the whole thing with civilians, which, I mean, the whole thing of, we don't trust the pros anymore. I get it, but at the same time, I don't know. It's one of those things, too, where it's like, they're going to try to stop the villains. Like, well, it's your funeral, you know? Maybe I just don't have a lot of sympathy for that. I don't know. That's why I'm not a pro-hero, you know? They tried. They tried to save him, you know? Tried to save him. And Shindo tried to fight Muscular. He at least did damage. It wasn't immediate, and he wouldn't have been able to survive going forward, but he at least did help Deku, which was good. Deku with his interesting outfit. So it's his outfit, but first off, he's got gauntlets, which that is like that is the closest thing we've had to canon with the movies, you know? Because that's the thing. The second movie definitely is just like, okay, no, stop, no. The third movie you can get away with. The first movie you could also probably get away with too. But that is the closest thing to canon is, we have these gauntlets that All Might ordered from America because that'd be the gauntlets that Melissa Shield made. So that's the closest thing we've had to those movies being canon. So yeah. So that's at least good. It's able to help him brace his arms, which is good. Alright, so how many quirks is he missing now? Like 2? So of the quirks he's obtained, he got Black Whip, Float, Danger Sense, and now Smoke Screen or something? That's 4. So he's only got 2 more. And again, this is how you know that this was not planned from the beginning. The reason why it took 100 episodes for him to unlock another quirk, because here, he just got this off screen. So, I do find it interesting that he can just communicate with all of the past lives just right then and then. Literally like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like the Pharaoh kind of coming out and, saying something to Yugi or something. Or vice versa, I guess. You know? Like, the fact that as he's running, the 6th user, I think? He can just sort of pop out, Which I wonder who voices him, because his voice kind of sounds familiar, I don't know. But the guy, Best Genist-esque, he's not the best Genist, but he's decent Genist, basically, But yeah. But his quirk is this purple smoke. What a strange... I mean, it's such an interesting thing looking at all of their quirks, because it's like, okay, Black Whip I understand, because Black Whip, Spider-Man, Hermit Purple, alright, Black Whip, I get that as a power. All these others, it's like, man, yeah, without the One for All, how did they do anything, Like, I don't know, like, you look at some of them, like, okay, Danger Sense, I guess that made sense, but then again, he wasn't really a hero, he kind of secluded himself. Shimmer is like the only one where I'm like, well, yeah, she can fly. She was also just jacked inherently, She was always just kind of jacked, so I just assumed, the One for All just made things easier, I don't know. And then All Might, he just had to be jacked because he didn't have any of this stuff. But yeah. But you use the other quirks as tools. But again, it's like, I get it. It's not terrible, but it's like, it's a little much, When again, for 100 episodes, over 100 episodes, I think, for 100 episodes, it was, okay, you have to figure out how this super strength works, basically. And we found all these really interesting ways of doing that. And then the author just kind of gave up and was like, well, I can't get him to 100% so quickly, but I'm going to have to wrap up this manga at some point. He gets previous quirks. He gets the quirks from the previous users. Okay. then it's like, oh, all right. It's kind of the same thing I've been talking about recently in JoJo, where JoJo, basically there's a whole thing where a character gets a new power. And this is a common thing, but at one point when a certain character got a new power, it kind of took away the essence of a JoJo fight, because a fight in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is supposed to be clever, you know? It's not, you know, and this is not the greatest example, but it's not like a Dragon Ball Z fight, you know? Where a Dragon Ball Z fight is, we fight for a little while, you know, Goku fights for a little while, kind of gets his ass kicked, and then he gets a new hair color, and then he goes and then he wins, you know? And that's a lot of Dragon Ball Z fights. Now, the original Dragon Ball was clever. That stuff, when it was actually martial arts, was clever. But JoJo was also the same way, and I think that's the thing here, is that Deku's fights used to be clever. And they're not that clever anymore. They're just, he's got a new thing and then he wins. Good job. Like, the rematch with Muscular, where he had to abandon 5% and go 100%, and even then, he had to do that like 3 times in order to fight Muscular at all, you know? In order to do anything. And here, it's like, well, the good thing is Shindo. The fact that Shindo did weaken him, you know, using his, was it Tremoring Earth or something like that? He used his full power, and that did do enough damage for Deku to then go in and fight. So I like that. That's definitely good. That's clever. I like that. But then it's just like, well, I've got smoke screen, I've got float, I've got black whip, I've got danger sense, so I can predict your moves and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, cool. Just end it. And also I've got a Detroit Smash. Like, hello, use your smashes more, man. I miss that. I miss the smashes. Like, I feel like Deku's last good fight was Gentle Criminal, you know? And that was a good fight, too, you know? Which, where's Gentle Criminal? Where is They set it up at the end of Season 4. Where is he? He should be out here kicking people's asses, you know? Him and La Brava should both be out here, you know? But yeah, it's like that. You should have that. But it's like, but Deku's fights, they're not really clever anymore, you know? And even if they're like vaguely clever, it's like, okay, well, how can you use all of these quirks? And it's like, well, yeah, if in a world where everybody had one superpower, yeah, if you have 10, you're probably going to win. That's the whole point of All for One, you know? Which even that, All Might had to be clever against All for One, because All for One, he's just a guy. You know, he's a guy. The only reason he's as powerful as he is because he keeps taking all the friggin' powerful quirks, you know? Whereas All Might had to train, All Might had to be clever, and he was clever when he fought him. And that's how All Might won. This time, it's like, well, Midoriya just has 20 quirks, and that's why he won. It's like, oh, okay. I kind of enjoyed the clever fighting that... And you can have... Because I think it was still clever when it was just Black Whip, too. Because, like, okay, one additional quirk works out, and it's a supporting type quirk, you know. It doesn't... You know, Black Whip doesn't really attack, but it supports him. It helps him, you know, swing around and do these things, trap his enemy, and then he punches. That's fine. You can do that, you know? That's, I mean, you're practically getting to Jolene Cujo by that point. But Black Whip was fine. Float, I guess, honestly, I don't see how Float helps him because he was flying anyway. But Danger Sense and Smokescreen, I'm just not sure about, you know? Danger Sense, too, when he's like, oh, I'll use Danger Sense to predict his movements. Like, you used to do that. You used to do that with your mind because you were smart, because you were clever. And now you just have a quirk that's clever for you. Great. Good job. You know? And it's not even like Spider Sense where it's like, yeah, Peter Parker has Spider Sense. Peter Parker still has to be very clever, though. You know? What time is it? It's almost noon, so I better get going. Uh, like, I was looking over at the time and stuff like that. I was like, I can't be ranting here for 10 minutes, you know? But here we are. So yeah, the long-awaited rematch between Muscular and Deku. Over. Like, oh, okay. I didn't think he got that stronger, but... I mean, but he's learning to handle his stuff better, and yeah, he's just got 10 million other quirks that he can use, so... Great. Happy days. I will say I did like when they talked to the doctor about it's like, yes, you did use 100% smashes, but your body was more accustomed to it. So basically, by building up his body to where now, his body can handle 45% max, meaning he gave himself a little bit more time before his arms, conk out, basically. It will still happen eventually, but he is built to withstand it more than he used to be at 5%. That makes sense. I like that. Plus, he's got the gauntlets, so that works out. So, yeah. So I did like that. Man, poor Inko. This poor woman. This poor woman just having to watch her son go off. But I do like the irony, though, that it used to be that Deku wanted to go to UA and Inko didn't. She didn't want it because, like, oh, it's dangerous. UA is so dangerous. And now it's been reversed. UA is the safe haven and out there is not. But Deku wants to go out there and Inko wants him to stay there. I do find the irony in that, so I like that. But yeah. But again, just the whole thing of, I'm glad because I was worried that it's like, oh, it's going to be Deku on his own and stuff, and they're going to have to go and like get him back and teach him like, no, you don't have to be alone and stuff. But he's not alone. He has the top 3 heroes and the former number 1. That's not being alone, So I like that at least. And just the fact that he's working with Best Genius is like, well, yeah, he's going to win. He's got Best Genius on his side, So there's at least that. And I will say, now with this episode, with him, going off, and being kind of secretive, I can see now where people are going to start to recognize him and be like, hey, that guy's really doing a lot. Maybe he's, I can see how Deku will become the number 1 hero now. Finally, which I kind of thought this should have happened with Overhaul. Like, somehow that wasn't televised. That is like, oh yeah, this giant fight with Overhaul. People should have been like, oh, Deku, you're the guy that fought the Yakuza, Doesn't matter. I will say they finally made that hood look cool. It's still kind of goofy just because of the bunny ears, but it looks cool enough, And he's got Gran Torino's cape, which is crazy. He's got Gran Torino's cape, and I do like that. There's the moment is like, that's Shimura for you. Even when she's dead, she's still crying over her choices. Jesus. So. But yeah. So I did like all of that. And again, just the fact. But see, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if you're going to have a team, if you're going to leave UA and have a team, take some of your friggin' classmates with you. Like, did your classmates not prove themselves in that last battle? Bakugo, Todoroki, Ida, Uraraka. Take them with you. It's like, I'm all for, like, let's go. We gotta hunt down All For One and Shigaraki and take these fuckers out. I'm all for that. Let's have a team. Let's do that. Take a friggin' class with you. How would you not take Bakugo with you? And how would Bakugo not, find you? And be like, you bastard! You didn't take me with you! Ugh. But yeah, so at least with that, again, it's kind of the thing with Dabi where it's like, oh, Dabi's really interesting now because he's associated with Endeavor, who is a much more interesting character, It's the same thing here. It's like, oh, Deku's storyline is interesting because he has Endeavor and Hawks and Best Genius in his storyline. Like, oh, okay, we can do this. We can do this now. Yay. So okay. We had a bit of a rough patch. We had a bit of a rough patch for a while, but I think we can stick a landing here. Yeah, we're in the final act. Despite the fact that I'm pretty sure we know we have another season. We know we have season 7. But people have told me that season 7 will probably be the final season. So Yeah, so I don't know. Are we ever gonna get Purple Girl? Like, we've got 5 episodes left in the season, but they keep teasing Purple Girl. Give me Purple Girl already, you know? Like, come on. You teased it, give it to me. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that's my weekly rant of My Hero Academia. But things are looking better. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of my Hero Academia reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.